Film Go Familia. How are we, ladies and gentlemen, señoras y señoritas? Been a while. The industry has got, it's not crazy busy, but it's got a little bit busier, and it's just meant that consistency, which some of you that listen to some of the past episodes know is the key to success. I haven't been able to be as consistent as I wanted to do one a week. But for all of you first-time listeners, welcome. My name is Isusko, the time scheduler on the Instagrams. And welcome to the Film Gods podcast, where now we're going to do 2 episodes a month, just because that is a consistency that I can handle and deal with the size of the team that we have here. And we talk to people in the industry, in and around the peripheries of the set, bang in the middle of sets, in TV, in docs, and I'm talking to a wider demographic of people because we're all doing the same thing, which is, as a broad stroke, creating content, whether that is a TV show, whether that is live entertainment, whether that is a feature film, whether they are 15-second little adverts. But we're all creating content for the entertainment value and the business side, so that it can make money, so the film can make money, so the TV can bring eyeballs to the streaming services or the terrestrial channels. And we've all gone through a strange kind of couple of years figuring ourselves out. The WhatsApp groups have started going a little bit nuts with the whole AI thing. Yes, there is a concern, but I wonder if there is a world where we embrace and we're actually, all the things that we're fearful of become positives. And I don't know what it is. I don't have the answer. I'm just asking the question here, guys. Please don't shoot me. All right? I'm just asking the question that sometimes what we're most fearful of can become a positive journey, process, outcome. Because what if there is a world where content and TV and commercials do use AI, and it needs to have more content plugged into it so that the people watching it can have their own experience. So I was talking to someone, and they were talking about how potentially with AI there could come a time where the TV shows that you watch are created by you. So if you love football or soccer and you love Sylvester Stallone and classical music, whatever, that some sort of AI computer will create you an 8-part series where Sylvester Stallone is he's already played football, hasn't he, with Pele, and anyway. But you can see what I'm saying. So maybe there comes a world where AI is going to need more things to be filmed to be able to then plug into. So as fearful as a vast percentage of my friends and the industry are, I am just going to try and be super enthusiastic and positive about any changes that are happening. And I think there's a Warren Buffett, when people are fearful, that is the time to, or in chaos comes, something basically along the lines of when everyone else is running in fear and is fearful, there can be an opportunity in that moment. So, to anyone that's listening, today's episode, we have firstly a friend, secondly a neighbour, and thirdly a very experienced exec producer who's come up the ranks, researcher, runner, all the way up to directing and now exec producing some of the hits that we've watched Saturday night over through your Saturday nights over here in the UK. And he's a top chap. And it's a great ep. And I laughed. I haven't laughed that much in an ep for a long time. So there's some good stories, but there's some really wonderful lessons that he imparts. And there's some reoccurring themes that I think a lot of people might be feeling at the same time. So please enjoy the episode. Shout out to Creative Caves, our sponsor, and shout out to Cine Certified, still doing some amazing things for the camera trainee boys and girls out there that wanted to get into camera. So please go check out Cine Certified. As always, thank you so much for coming and listening and giving me your most precious commodity, which is your attention. It's not time, as you said before. I always thought it was time, but actually it's your attention, because you can be sat in the room with your kids and be on your phone and you're giving them time, but actually putting that phone away and playing with them is giving them your attention. So enjoy the episode, have a lovely time. If you like what you've heard, subscribe, don't forget to share it, and let's get straight to the end.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So, Film God family, as is the truth with the film industry, media industry, creative industry at large, you'll suddenly just end up living in a place and find that there's a handful of people in your area that work in your industry who you didn't know fucking worked in it. And I've been very lucky and blessed to live within about a 30-second fucking walk of our guest today, who is, I must say, working on some of the best TV, live TV, entertainment TV that Britain has to offer at the minute. I'm not going to talk about which ones he actually can work in or is working in, so go check him out if you do want to know. But not only is he a lovely man, he's very talented. He has a beautiful family. We live in a beautiful area. I'm very, very privileged to have him on the podcast today. So, without any further ado, what is your name, brother? And what is your role on the call sheet?
My name's Pete Corns, and I am exec producer on the call sheet.
So, in what areas of media creative are you exec producing?
So I do like entertainment TV, reality TV, a little bit of fact dance, but yeah, shiny floor entertainment it can be, yeah, all those.
The Saturday night, sitting at home with a family, with a bottle of beer and a packet of popcorn, just chilling out and unwinding. It's great. It's the kind of stuff that gets families together. That's how I kind of see the shows that you work on. So, from a starting point, how did you get in? What was the whole point of it, and why didn't you just end up, following in father's footsteps, whatever he did?
Yeah, definitely not them. I think you touched on it there. Like for me, my whole childhood was like TV played a big thing. So like Saturday night, we'd be at my nan and granddad's house. We'd be into church, gone the chippy, and then we sit down like four generations, like my great grandma, my nan, my aunties, me and my cousins, and we'd watch telly on a Saturday night. And I think, it could be like singers or comedians live on TV, or it was Generation Game, or it was Casualty, or it was Baywatch. It was like, all those things were like a real mix on a Saturday night. But that was like, we were all together.
Yeah.
And, maybe it doesn't happen as much these days, but it still does. It does in our house. And I think, it created conversations, it created moments, and it created all these generations to sit down together in one place. And I think it was synonymous with me growing up, like my family. It's what I remember. But I grew up in Liverpool. I don't think there were many TV jobs going on there. I didn't think it could be a job I could do.
Yes.
So I kind of left school. Like in school, it was the classic, like class clown, always in trouble.
Standard.
Not for anything bad, but
a
sure,
misfit.
yeah. yeah,
If only he didn't talk so much, he'd make something with his life. You're like,
yeah,
motherfucker, I get paid for
yeah.
talking now.
It's true, yeah. Like I remember doing. Did you do that thing where they take you into like the IT room and you'd have those big old computers and you'd put in like everything you like, things you were good at, and it'd go, "This is your job." And I used to get postman and milkman, and I thought, do you know what? Yeah, I don't want to sit in an office. Like,
No,
yeah, take those jobs.
yeah, yeah. Up early, done by lunch, home. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Thank you,
Then it was
postman.
the early starts, maybe, maybe not. Well, like, and I think like working in TV now, like, not to digress, but like, I think a lot of people are like that. They're like
Mm,
personalities, and it's like that's what it's all about, isn't it? And as you say, it's
yes,
talking to people. It's yeah.
it's
But
a
then
people game. It really is a people game.
it is, yeah, which is good. It's good for us.
I mean,
But
if you can, as you know, if we're talking to any runners or any youngsters out there that come in, if you are able to withstand hours of grueling, intense work and still find and have the capability of having a smile and making someone else smile and picking up the energy of a film set, of an entertainment set, of whatever, you're gonna fucking make it
yeah,
really easily.
yeah. Yeah, because it's well, I'll talk about that after. But like in terms of like how I got into it, then is like is I left school. I worked in like an admin job in a pensions company in like
That
this.
sounds exciting.
Yeah, but it was in the
Let's,
lab
do you know what?
building.
Let's not talk about film industry. Let's just talk about that job.
Do you know what? Like it was in the lava buildings in Liverpool, which is like an iconic building, and I loved it. I remember my first day going in, and then I was like, "Oh my God!" Like people have been doing this all their lives. Like
Yeah.
there's a woman who was doing the same role as me, um, probably on the same money, which wasn't much, and she had a 40-year in service thing, and she went up to the boardroom, and they gave her a watch or something, and she came down, and I thought, "Fuck me, no, this
I'm
is."
out.
Be me. This is not going to be me. And don't get me wrong, some of my mates do jobs like that back
Yeah,
home
yeah.
still. And like, they know when they're going on holiday. They know how much money they get in a month. They, great. But like,
No,
I just couldn't do it. And I think that gave me a kick up the arse. I trained to be a PE teacher because, that wasn't going to be in an office, was it?
no, no.
And
You're
then,
outside
and
blowing a
then,
whistle. Arquez.
yeah, yeah. And then my mum was a teacher, and she said to me, "Is this really what you want to do? Because once you're a teacher, that is it for life."
Yeah.
And I just something hard. And then at the same time, my older brother, he'd moved to London. He was whatever, he was doing another
London,
job. And
London.
London, at London. And now we used to always talk about him because he'd done it. He'd
Yeah.
moved to London. And then he got a job and he ended up working in TV. But he was like current affairs. He does documentaries,
Hmm.
like award-winning documentaries, highbrow stuff. But I mean, we're very different. He was into cricket, I was into football. I was into pop music, he was into classical music. So I don't think we were ever going to go the exact
Okay.
same path.
No, no.
But like he kind of, he got this job that all of a sudden that was a job. Like TV was a job, it was a career, it was a real thing.
Mm.
London was a thing. Like it was, and anyway, I managed to get an interview in Granada in Manchester, which was like the ITV little spin-off, wasn't it? Like the
Hmm.
regional.
Yep.
And like Coronation Street was filmed there. So like
Amazing.
um but like I remember
And
getting
would
in
you
the
go in as a runner? Did you get
yeah, it was
or
a
did you?
runner. It was a well, I went in for this interview, and within 5 minutes of like walking in there, sitting in the production office, even getting in the lift, like I remember like not in the lift at the same time, but I remember from the journey from walking in the building to signing into reception to getting in the lift to getting into the office. I went past Cilla Black, I went past Ian McKellen, I went past Jeremy Kyle, maybe not as like there was like some sort of like there was some sort of pop star. I can't remember who it was, like some sort of old school 90s or 80s pop star. And I
Yeah.
was like, what is this world that I've just walked
Totally
in?
different to walking into a pension building and everyone's just
Yeah,
in suits. Yeah.
yeah. And then I went in for the interview, and I mean the worst thing was I'd gone in full suit and tie
Ah.
because no one told me, didn't know anyone. Like,
You gotta go in shorts and flip-flops, brother. You can't
hey,
suit and tie it.
I walked through the office and people were looking at me, and I looked at them all and I thought,
Oh,
oh, I've
fuck.
misjudged this. I've got this wrong. Not for the last time. I got a lot of things wrong in my career. But like I was like, oh, I've misjudged this. And then anyway, like I had the interview and then I got a runner's job. And I kind of on and off was like working in my cousin's bar, then working in Manchester on running jobs. I just loved it. Like I just couldn't believe I had a job in TV. I mean, I as a runner, like my whole I think you mentioned it earlier, but when we were chatting before, but like my whole thing was always right. What do I have? I can make people smile
Mm,
sometimes, or laugh, but trying not to verge on the annoying because it is a thin
yes.
line, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I'd go in these shoots or like wherever, and I just try and make people laugh or smile. Or what can I do to like they look stressed, or like can I just get them a brew? What is there anything I can do like just to lighten the mood or do something? Class clown, right? Again,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think like the crew liked me, and I worked hard, and that was all right, and I made a good brew, like I made a good cup of tea,
Roll one.
but I think I wasn't the best runner. Like I was pretty crap in other ways. Like eh, those ways I was good, but I was thinking about it this morning. Like, what was I like as a runner? Like my first job, like they said, "Oh, can you drive a van?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I can drive a van," because I didn't want to say no.
Oh,
Because my
yeah.
God, you're off the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can drive a van. I got it. In the multi-story car parks, they have those tight turns where you go.
Oh, no.
I got it wedged in a turn, scraped all the side of it. It was like day
Ah,
three. I was like,
oh,
oh, and then I
fuck.
was like, oh, that's it, I'm out. But I wasn't. They let me off,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
like,
But they
and then
probably let you off because everyone will always, you're always going to make mistakes in whatever level, in whatever role, in whatever job, you're
yeah,
always going to make mistakes. But they are far and few between all of the other thousands and thousands of hours where you are making people laugh. You are
yeah,
making a classic,
yeah,
beautiful cup of fucking tea.
yeah,
The mistakes will come. That's
yeah.
just a learning curve. And next time you drove the van, you sure as fuck gave yourself a bit of more hard of a, turning circle.
I don't know. You've seen our car in our street. You know how bashed in it is. I think yeah, 100, like that defo, definitely like and that's what I always say to younger runners now, or anyone on the team really is like, don't be scared of making mistakes. Like,
Mm,
when I tell them, I'm not going to tell you all the mistakes I've made on here, but like, it's what makes you good at your job.
yes.
Because if you made a mistake once, you're not hopefully not going to make it again.
Mm,
Or like as you move up the ladder, you're employed for your experience, right? But your experience of things going wrong, like when things go wrong, how you deal with it,
mm,
that's what makes you good at your job, I think. That's
yes.
what I think anyway.
Totally agree.
But I mean, I made loads. Like as a runner, like that's not the only thing I did. I mean, but I quickly learned. Like I think I was like just a bit of a scally, so a bit of a like Jack the lad. I don't know what I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what you call it, but and like nothing bad. But I think I needed to become a bit more professional, which happens. And I see it with some runners now, but they're the ones who I go, oh, but they've got a bit of character,
Yes.
and
You
like they
can't
can,
teach that.
yeah,
You can't teach the character. You can
yeah.
teach them all the protocols and the standard operating procedures and what form to fill in and how to think but that little bit of extra twinkle in the eye, you cannot give it away. You cannot teach it.
Yeah, agree. And I think, yeah, but like other th like yeah, and that's what I think someone or multiple people saw in me, which I'm very grateful for. But I mean, like other things I did as a runner, like very quickly, like I remember when I was doing this, like because I did all sorts of shows then, from like docs to like did some current affairs stuff, did some fact ends, did
Mm,
things like Stars in Their Eyes, You've Been Framed, so like all like a whole range of shows. And I did this like 80s, those ones where they like look back at the 80s and they
yeah.
do interviews with like famous people from the 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember this we'd done like it's 6 interviews already over 2 days, and we were waiting to do the last one. And I heard the director outside saying, "Oh yeah, I don't think he's going to come, so I'm going to wrap the crew." So I went in and said to the crew, "Oh, you're wrapped." And now, like now, I think I didn't actually say that. I said, "We're done," and the crew went, "So we're wrapped." And I went, "What's that mean?" And they're like, it was like I don't even run it for
Yeah,
like
yeah.
2 months. And I was like, they were like, "We're done." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, we're wrapped." Never uttered those words again until I was like a director. But like, It was like, so they de-rigged the whole, like started taking the
Oh
lights.
shit.
You know how quick, like rigging takes 3 hours,
Yeah,
de-rigging
yeah.
like
That
20 minutes. Like,
20 minutes, it's out.
anyway, half an hour later, this director walks in with like, I think it was like Tony Hadley or some sort of 80s pop
Oh
star
no.
interview, and like half the room had been
Oh
de-rigged.
no. Oh
And,
no.
and she went,
Oh,
the director was like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, and I just put my hand up and I was
oh
like,
yeah. Standard. You got to.
sorry, sorry,
Yeah.
it's my fault. And then one of the cam, I remember one of the camera ops was like, well, no, no, it's not his fault. I pushed him, and I was like, no, 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 it's me, it's my
Yeah.
fault. I said the words to him,
I love that.
and you
That is
just think,
fucking
oh,
brilliant.
but then I think like, and like, but I'm still
But then
here.
you've learned the importance of what telling people that's a rap means.
Like, you
You know?
don't do that.
It's-
You don't do that again, do you? And then I think the worst thing I did as a runner was we were like, I was doing this like ITV2 spin-off show to some sort of like talent show. Um, and we were like we had like a little live audience. It was like, they go, oh, we're gonna do it in like a bar type area. So like the guests come in, but everyone's drinking around them, and it's like, I don't know, you know what I mean? No, it's
yeah, yeah.
like more chilled out vibes rather than like here's the presenter, here's
Yes.
the
Yeah, yeah.
Saturday audience. And like there was like a new Blue Peter presenter. I'm not going to say a name, but and I'm not going to say our presenter's name, but in the break, I went on. He was like, "Oh, so I've got to do. I'm going to do a quick chat with her. Where is she?" And I went, "There was two women, both blonde hair." And I said, "Oh, that's her there," and pointed to the one on the right. Anyway, we come up that ad break. And he goes, "Oh, and here we are, joined with Blue Peter's news presenter, bloody blah." And then like says says it to this woman, and she goes, "No, that's not me. It's her stood behind you." And it was like her and her mate, and he
Oh
constantly
no.
pointed to her mate, and then like anyway, he started it out, and in the break, I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and he was fine with it. Well, then again, that was another big lesson. Like,
Well, I guess the thing is, it's what those lessons are teaching you are shit gets said on set, and some of it is in passing, some of it are just thoughts, but actually, the importance of what is said on set and that information, like you just come straight out of an advert break, and here's the new thing, and everyone's like, nah, dude,
uh,
she's right
on
behind you.
live
Brilliant.
TV as well, you're like, oh.
Absolutely brilliant. And
And I
so all
think,
of those moments of kind of build you up because it doesn't sound, there's a lot of directors and exec producers that start off in film and TV and go, I really want to be an exec producer. I really want to be a director. But it seems like you just went, I love the industry. I
yeah,
love the vibe of the people, the atmosphere, the what it is that we're creating because it had meant so much to you growing up and it brought so many wonderful memories from a family perspective that you went, well, I want to create those for the next generation. So you get in as a runner, and at what point did you go directing or exec producing, or why didn't you go camera? Why weren't you a floor manager? Why did you choose, or what happened on that path?
I- it's a good question. It's one I often ask myself, if I'm being honest. I think, as you said, like people go in with a plan. Like I'm sure, I don't know, like one day you must have gone, that's like AD,
Yes.
that's what I want to
Yeah, yeah.
do. Yeah, well, I think I
Yeah, but
don't
that had come off the back of wanting to be a director, wanting to be an
find,
editor, getting into
find,
production, trying that out, not liking it, and getting onto a proper, I say proper film set, and
yeah,
seeing the first AD and going, that's the fuck, there it is.
yeah,
That's all of the bits that I liked in one role. So it came out of trying other things, but yes, once I saw it, I knew it.
yeah. Well, I guess I always wanted to be a director, but I just don't know whether I don't know if I'd say at that time I'd say it out loud to myself. I think like I was probably scared's the wrong word, but I think like I just don't know if I had the confidence or the belief that I would get there.
Mm.
So I think I just thought, I mean, after those three incidents, like who would? Well, like, I think.
Yeah.
think I was just like, I love, as you said, I love this industry. I I just want to keep working in it, whatever I do. But then people see things in you, right? And people like not push you because you have to be driven. Of course you're driven, and of course you want to succeed, and you have to work hard. But people have to believe in you to give you that next step up. And I
Hmm.
think, I did think about lots of things like floor manager or editor and all that. I just love chatting to people. So I was always going to be a producer or a director, like, or both, which I did.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, I don't know, like, I don't think there was one moment though where I went, oh, that's it for me. I got at the time when I was in Manchester, like an exec producer said to me, "Oh, we've got a show starting in London again."
London.
Yeah, and
The reason, guys, the reason that we're doing this joke, there was a meme, there was a little video popping around last week about, I think it was like Emmerdale or Coronation Street,
yeah,
of just every time that someone said that they knew someone in London, were going to London, or one of their friends and family were in London, the reaction straight back from that was just the other person's kind of surprise or disgust that they'd gone to London.
it's a big old place, isn't
It's
it?
a
Like
massive place.
it's a big and like that's what it was like. So like this exec said to me, you know, oh, there's a job start. It was just like a Wednesday, and he said it starts on Monday in
Mm.
London, and I think I
London.
said London. And then I remember, and he said, think about it. And I thought, I'm going to have to move to
What
London
age are you at this point? Are you kind of late teens, early 20s?
because I'd gone to uni and trained to be a
Okay.
PE. So like I think I got into it like mid, maybe I was like 24,
Yeah, yeah.
23, 24.
Okay.
Um,
And you did the journey by yourself? You just had
no,
the courage to come on a train and
no, absolutely not. I went, I went out with my best mate for a pint that night, and I remember we was sitting there and I said to her, I've been offered this job in London. We're going to stop it now. We're like London. And he's like, what, London? And then he was like, fuck it, let's do it. Why don't we move together? And he was like a
That's a
pharmacist.
good
So
mate.
he had a steady job. He was getting good money and he could work anywhere because like locum pharmacist, whatever. So we moved to London together. And like, I think if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have done it. Like even
Mm,
we lived together for like a year and a half and then he moved back to Liverpool. But I had no money, so I worked on things like Polo Grade Show or like these sort of like or quiz shows or I was a researcher, so I wasn't getting paid much. And I remember being in this flat that we lived in, and we were just about. I said to him, "We haven't been charged any phone, like the landline. We haven't been charged for any council tax. We haven't been charged for any lighting, any gas, electricity." And he was like, "I know, I can't believe it." And then years later, he let slip that he'd been paying those bills
oh,
because
wow.
he knew that like I had no
Ledge.
money and like I'd give a job for 2 months then or a month or like 3 weeks and then I'd have nothing for 3 weeks.
Mm,
But, like like we all know in this industry it's like financially if you don't have someone backing you and in a way he did back me because he helped that. um
that's a good friend, man.
it
That is
is
a fucking good friend.
yeah. And then from there I just basically moved up I'm kind of stuck to entertainment TV then and like
Mm.
reality stuff. And then I was a producer and a director for years. And, I was in the edit and did all sorts of things. And it just became more creative. And I was like, oh, this is
Mm.
incredible. And I do some live studio stuff as well. Like live, there's quite a buzz to live TV, like the
The
adrenaline.
adrenaline's high. The
Yeah.
adrenaline is high.
Like any shooters, right? Because you've got lots of factors against you. You've got the time, you've got the weather, you've got
Yeah, but it's different.
but live's just yeah.
Live is a different beast. I was very lucky to do a couple of years, year and a half, a couple of years at Sky in in the rugby union department.
Yeah.
And I've been on, as a runner, I'd been on some very big commercials. Like,
Yeah.
just, I was very fortunate that the ADs that I worked with just did all the big commercials. That was
Yeah.
just what it was. And there was a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. But there is no rush like that moment that they're just, especially for like a rugby or a football, that you're like, right, we're coming out of an advert break, and there's the countdowns and your thing, and they're in the tunnel, and you come out, and then for those 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, it is non-stop. Like the concentration that you have to have in that little chunk of time is so great. It's
Yeah.
so great, and everyone needs to be on point. Everyone has to be at 100%. Because if
Yeah.
one person fucks up, I remember I'm going to put my hands up. I couldn't. There was a point. It was like my first big Heineken Cup, and we
Mm,
went out to Toulon, Johnny Wilkinson, and I was trying to log all the bits and bobs, and it was the first time that I've been thrown in that environment, and I drowned, and I was like, "Fuck, I don't know what time of the thing." And they
yeah.
put out a VT that was the same VT that I told them on before, and I was like, like that was a real wake up call as to how on point you need to be for when you're on live. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
But again, right, I was talking about mistakes earlier, like, but you learn again.
Yes,
That was a
yeah,
mistake. But like, we're all human. We all make them, but you
hmm
learn from them, and like that's. And I think well, yeah, live TV is quite a buzz, and like I do a fair bit of it now. And you don't you have to make decisions quickly. And
mm,
I think, like I talked about earlier, which we can talk about again in a minute, but like I we talked about fear maybe of like, can I do that job? Can I do, whatever? Like, and I think you can't have any fear. It's like, don't fear making the wrong decision, because that's when people freeze, and you've seen it happen. And I
mm,
think, if you freeze on a set, you can take a minute, you can take a second, but in a live TV element, you can't. So you can't fear making the wrong decision.
no,
You have to make a decision, and you have to,
yes,
and
you
and I
live and
think,
die by it, and then
yeah.
you learn.
And I think the other thing is, like, in those high stress environments which we all work in, whether it's commercials, whether it's film, whether it's TV, they can be highly stressed because they're costing a lot of money, these shoots, or
Yep.
or there's a live element or whatever. Um, and I think you can't, the big thing for me is, you can't show that stress. You have to be calm. You have to be the calm and presence. And I think now,
hmm
as an exec, or when as a director, everyone looks to you. So you have to be zen. You have to like have clear thoughts. You have to be calm. But also the other thing is, like, I've seen, and I'm sure you have, is like, we've had those directors or execs or producers or bosses, if you like, who shout and scream. And I just think, I just knew, never wants to be that person. Like, you how can you make people how can you make people do their jobs properly, or allow them to do their jobs properly, allow them to be creative, allow them to make their decisions as well? Because, all
mm,
right, at the top, you are making decisions, but there's 100 people below you who've made lots of little decisions to get to where we are now. So everyone's making their own little decisions in every single second, under the same pressure as you are. And I just think, I just never wants to be that shouty person, like, because it's just like, I just can't believe people do it, really. I
yes.
don't think
Well,
people do it as much anymore.
no, no, there
But
isn't. It used to, especially for my background and knowledge. I was when I was coming into being a runner to that kind of 2006. There'd been a generation, or maybe a generation and a half before, where there was a lot of military kind of ideology around what an AD and how a film set would run, and you would
yeah,
shout, and everyone was just used to being shouted at. But from my personal perspective, any first AD that I worked with that would shout at me wouldn't get the best out of me,
yeah,
because if you just don't shout, I'll work harder. I'm working out of fear, and because I know you're going to shout at me. If I'm doing it because I want to be doing it, and I'm empowered to make some decisions and choices, you'll get a
yeah,
hell of a lot out of people with love and
yeah,
laughter than you do with fear
yeah,
and beating them.
yeah. Agree. And I'm like, and it is a creative industry, and how can you
Mm,
be creative if
come,
you're working under fear, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I'm the same as you. I think there was a slight changeover, but there was still people been who'd grown up in those or worked in those environments, sorry,
Mm,
and that's all they knew. And so when they
yeah.
got stressed, they'd scream and shout. And yeah, I think, but we're all human. Again, we make
Yes.
mistakes. we might scream and shout one day or one moment because something happens. But my other thing, which I say to my teams all the time, is if it does happen, just go and apologize. Like something might be going on at home, like you know, someone like there's so much, we
You
all
never
have
know.
our lives outside the
Yes.
TV, and we might catch someone on a bad day, and they might be a bit of a dick to us. But like I always say, just if that's you and that happens, go and apologize straight away because we might be on this set for 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
Yeah.
however long. Like you're gonna ask that person, they're gonna have to do something for you
Yeah.
tomorrow. So like make amends and just be the better, bigger person and
Yes. Because it's
apologize.
like a family. And
Yeah,
if you kind of, the way that I describe it is that we do come onto these jobs, whether they're kind of short form commercials or longer form films and TV, and you are together for, say you're together for 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
yeah, yeah.
It's almost like a family Christmas dinner every day because it
Dysfunctional family.
it's yeah, it's that kind of slight, and there is that crazy uncle, and there's the
Yeah,
slightly kooky thing, and but you all need to figure out and very quickly just all fit into wherever you need to fit in so that you can move together. You can't
yeah,
just turn up in an office and go, I don't like sitting next to her, so I'm just
yeah,
gonna, and it goes up HR and this, that, and the other.
yeah,
We have
yeah.
to very quickly figure out, and you're not going to like everyone. That's fine. But
No,
then you just keep
no.
your distance and you figure it out. You work out patterns. But I think the film crew and or TV media ability to solve problems instantaneously, get on with people, and make the best out of the situations. I think they're kind of like superpowers that during
Yeah,
COVID, if you just stuck a load of production managers and producers in the Houses of Parliament, it would have all been fucking brilliant. Everything would have been fine.
yeah,
Shit would have got done.
yeah. I agree. I agree. It is like I think in that moment, like when in COVID, like people did have to go and look at other jobs and you look at yourself and you go, what transferable skills do I have?
Mm,
And, and you know, on paper, if you write your CV out, no one's going to think, but that you can go and work for them. But you can. Not that we'd
yes.
want it because we probably wouldn't fit in a normal office. But it is. We do have skills that I think I'm guilty of it. Like where I don't look at what I've done and go, what skills do I have? Or these are my skills. Um, you kind of just think, oh, I'm in this job because I get on with people, or people are taking a chance on me, or which is true. And
Mm,
like, we're all, we've all been very lucky that people have helped us out along the way or seen something in us. But then you also have to have some sort of skill and competence and
mm,
experience and knowledge to be good at your jobs. Otherwise, those people wouldn't take that chance on you or give you those jobs, right?
mm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I think there's an element of so when kind of COVID happened and then everyone looked at their transferable skills, as you said, you kind of as a second AD, I'm like getting 300 people through costume and makeup, to get on
yeah,
set and then organize them and clear communication doesn't really, you just go, oh, XY ad with 300 people. But actually the ability to problem solve, the ability to manage and maneuver people and as an AD specifically, first or second,
yeah,
you don't really have a skill set apart from you and your personality. You don't have any technical skills about the camera. You haven't got any of the MVQs to do any of the gripping or the lighting. Um, and so what you do is that you're trusting that everyone on that film set is the most experienced person on that film set for their role. And actually, if you take that into business, you're kind of like the CEO of that kind of thing. You
yeah,
kind of go, I don't need to know everything, but
yeah,
what I can do is I can manage the people that know a lot more than me and give decisions and have an environment of work that allows for creativity to flow. That you can put into any industry, any job, and you're laughing.
yeah. And I think like for me as an exec producer now, like that's it. Like if I don't have a great team, I, well, I ain't gonna have a great time. It ain't gonna be a great show. Like what you
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
what
They're
you're
like, oh,
doing
can you
is
go
like,
and light that? Can you go and film that? No, I
yeah,
can't. No.
yeah, and you're like you basically responsible for running the whole show,
Mm,
whether that's but you have to have an oversight of everything, whether that's creative, whether that's the format, whether that's dealing with the talent, whether it's budget, whether it's the edit, whether it's crewing up, staffing, press and marketing, digital and online now. Like that plays a huge part in TV, like that
Yes.
over, and it's quite exciting. Liaising with the channel or or the on-demand service, whatever. Like you do all this, but really you're balancing like the creative ambition with like the financial
Yep.
or the logistical like limitations. But you need all your departments to be great at what they do, and you
Mm.
have to trust them. You have to allow them, as we were saying before, you have to allow them to make all their decisions and be creative. And it's basically a lot of people management, which
Yes.
and firefighting, which being an AD is very similar, right? It is
Oh,
people
yeah.
management and firefighting, and yeah, I, I think the most important thing is getting everyone to want to work for, not for you, because obviously they're doing it for not just for you, they're doing it for the channel and the production company and for themselves and everything. But like if you're in charge, you need everyone to go into battle with you and in a way. Um
Yeah. Actually, I'm
yeah,
just looking at the book to make sure I get it right. But what you're talking about, Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last.
yeah,
It's a great book, but the title just kind of gives it. It's like
yeah,
what you're doing is you're showing there that leadership isn't the beat you over a stick, do what I say. It's
yeah,
about empowering the people below you to to learn through making the mistakes so that they become better. And in essence, you kind of you want them to be so good at their job that they're then knocking at the door, waiting to take your one.
yeah,
That's what you want to do because
yeah,
then they go off and they go to another channel, another show, another thing, and
yeah,
you're then able to have an imprint on the wider community of film and TV, and live TV because you've got like little mini Pete's
yeah.
just going around just
I hope
pretending to
not.
live from Liverpool. It's like, you know.
The industry deserves better than loads of little bits. But like, yeah, I think also like I think fear keeps coming up here, but like
Yes, it
taking
does
away
for
that,
everyone.
yeah, taking
Everyone.
away that fear, like that's another thing is like then you'll know of a clever saying for this, but like one thing for me is like I don't know how to explain this, but like I try and take the fear away from the team. So like if something goes wrong, it's on me, it's not on you because I am in charge in a way. I
Yes.
say in charge, but you know what I mean? Like I'm the exec, so anything that bad that happens, that's on me. You're my
No
team.
glory or to blame. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And then when we do get, these hugely gushing praises from whether it's the channel or whatever, it's like, well, it's not me, it's the team. Like I'm very
Yes.
lucky I've got this team, but it's true. And I think, you know, that's that's what uh, that's I've always taken that from people I work, so execs I worked or producers I worked for, like that's what I always took from the best ones, is they did that.
Mm.
And I think that's what
Did
we
you
do.
see a little bit yourself in them?
I don't know if I did. I don't know if I did, but I just knew that
Do you think they saw a little bit themselves in you?
maybe, yeah. I think definitely people who pushed me up along the way did. Um, they, I think they did because like I do that now. Like I see people who've got a bit of I don't know, a bit of something about them, and I go, yeah, I like you. You might not have gone to uni and studied TV and
Yeah.
film. You might not have the qualifications. You might have made loads of mistakes on that shoot.
You wrapped everyone on the last shoot. That's it. You're hired. You're my new assistant.
But you just get it from people's personality, and like obviously there's lots of different personalities, and when you're putting a team together, you can't just have the same personality, otherwise that
No,
would be a
absolutely.
nightmare.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
you need a mix. You need some people who maybe aren't as loud, who are more, take take a step back and think about things more. Like you need lots of different personalities, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think probably, yeah, the best people I worked for or under in lots of different roles were the ones who weren't ruling through fear.
Mm.
They were getting the best out of us and allowing us to make mistakes and yeah,
Yeah, I think the two themes that I'm taking from the chat so far are kind of trust and courage,
yeah,
which are two really big, important topics because the fear will always be there. There will always be times that you as an individual, them as an individual, will always have an element of fear because they might be doing something for the first time. It might be the first time that they're looking after a cast, or it might be the first time that they've shot with a tracking vehicle or a thing, or the this or the that. So the
Yeah,
fear will always be there, but understanding that underlying that fear, the ability to just do it and give it a go, then builds an outer layer of more courage
yeah,
and
resilient.
that element of teamwork that keeps on coming back. So it's like the trust of the people that you've had around you of is what it feels like has molded you to be a trusting person. So it's like you as a kid sitting around with four generations of family. It's so fucking blessed because you had this inner sanctum of love and family that just all connected through a medium, and then your best mate just up
Yeah,
and sticks and fucking going down to London,
yeah,
London,
yeah,
and doing that for you. That trust there of that friendship. And then as you go through those ranks, you probably had people that, it was like you and someone else. It was like, there was a couple of you that probably worked on loads of jobs together, and that ability of trust and courage. I think
yeah.
they're the two kind of themes that I'm taking away from the chat so far.
Yeah, and another one that you've touched on there as well, like because you never stop and think about this stuff, right? But talking about it
Mm,
now, talking to you and you saying stuff back, like you start to see other things, and I think you it's great that you get to somewhere like you have worked hard and you have done all this stuff, but you haven't done it on your own. Like there's
mm.
lots of people who chip in and who, what's the phrase, something about a village makes a man or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it is.
It takes a village to bring up a child.
Yeah, and it's that, and it still happens
Mm,
all the way through our adulthood and our career. Like you need
yes.
people to invest in you, you need people to believe in you. And I think when you're younger, like now it's different, but when you're younger, that helps you believe in yourself as well. And I
Mm,
think also like people have this conversation so very rarely, but like I remember like a DOP or a camera op saying to me, "Oh yeah, I get imposter syndrome." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "You know, I I feel like I'm blagging it every day." And I was like,
perfect.
but you're like incredible. Like you are amazing at what you do. Like people are knocking on your door all the time. Like you've done some incredible stuff. And he was
Mm,
like, "Yeah, but we're all blagging it to a degree. Obviously,
yeah,
the more experience you get better at it. But
yeah.
we've all had to take a little leap, and people have had to have faith in us to take that leap
Mm,
and step up. So yeah, that's another thing that like thinking about it now sticks out for me.
amazing. Well, look, as with everything, it gets to about the 45-minute mark, which this is. And is there anything that we haven't touched base on that you think is important at this time?
think I think for me, I think that the industry we work in, like as freelancers, it's hard, right? You don't always know when the next job's coming in. You don't know when the next paycheck's coming in. And as you get older, you have a family, hopefully,
Mm,
or there's more responsibility on you, and it gets harder to make those decisions of, sticking with something that you absolutely love, but isn't bringing a regular paycheck. And I think, if I was to look back at like myself as a runner, or maybe when I first moved to London, like as a researcher, and things are hard, and you're trying to get into this, you're trying to make connections and all this. It's like I think I think I think I'd probably tell myself that everything's going to be all right, and just like trust, believe in it, and enjoy it a bit more. I think I spent too many years, which I do now. I do enjoy it more, but like I think I spent too many years worrying about when's the next job.
mm.
Will anyone pick up the phone and call me? Has anyone looked at that CV, that email I've sent, that like, and I think there was a lot of, I don't know, like maybe I didn't enjoy it as much as I could. And this job like has taken me, as I'm sure it has, well, I know it has for you. Like it takes you all over the world, and you get to see
Mm.
incredible things and do incredible things and see incredible things. And I guess, well, if any of us wanted
Weren't you
secure,
in a villa? Can we talk about the villa?
yeah,
that,
in lockdown,
that
yeah,
is and these kind of stories here that we're just about to hear, ladies and gents. This is what working in a creative industry for me is highlighted, and I'll quickly just bounce to this point before I throw to you.
yeah, go on.
Is there was I was doom scrolling in between, whatever. I was like 10 minutes, and a Seinfeld interview came up, and he had the question. He was like, when did how much money you earned become the symbol of whether you had a good job? He's like, growing up for him, he's like in the 80s and the 90s, it was about how cool is your fucking job. That
Yeah,
was it. Not how much money are you making. How cool is your fucking job? And I
yeah,
look at what we do and the places that I've been very privileged to be flown to or to
yeah,
have access to, um, and look at friends of mine who I love dearly who go to the same office that don't really enjoy particularly what they do. They like it, but it's a paycheck because they do have the security. What we've done in the film industry is that we've gone, I don't fucking want your security because it's not that much I love the fearful not knowing when I'm going to
oh
get fucking
yeah,
paid, but the freedom to just, they go, what you doing next week, what you doing next month, and you go, we're going to put you up in a villa and it's going to be your fucking story. These are
yeah,
the type of things that you can only get in our industry.
yeah. Yeah, it's true. I want just before I say that one of my favorite ever days working in TV was we went to what because it is a bit fun. Oh, we went to Universal Studios. We were doing like the next day we were doing a shoot with like a
In
presenter
LA.
in Florida,
Yeah.
and it was me, the DOP, and the director. And basically, we went there and we were like, "Oh, we just need to we'd set up a recce, like, oh, where are we gonna do like these like things with the presenter and all that." And then I went, "Oh, we might want to get it. The presenter's going to go on that ride, so can we just see what it looks like from the presenter's point of view?" And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So they shut down this ride, brought us to the front of the queue, put us on this ride. And I was like, great, three of us, no one else on the ride. Like, I don't know why they didn't just keep put everyone else on the rows behind us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, whoomp, we went on that ride. And then like I was like, oh, we can keep going it. So I was like, sorry. And you know what Americans like they
Yeah.
love being helpful. They
Love
love
it.
you out.
Love it.
I was like, oh, we might put them on that ride. Anyway, 6 hours later, we have done the whole park to the front of the queue. I remember we got back to the hotel at night and we all had like motion sickness. I
Well,
was like,
actually,
no other
they do
job.
love a burger. So can we just taste that food? And then they love popcorn. So just
Well, like no other job would you get to do that. And I
no,
was like, you got
ever.
to pay the perks when they come. But yeah, but the one in
And you're
lockdown,
getting paid to do it. They normally have to pay
yeah,
like 17 million
I
pounds
know,
to get like a
I know.
fast access pass.
And also, I'm not going to take the kids now. I ain't queuing now. I've done that. There's no chance. And then I think yeah, the one because I remember chatting to you about it at the time. So I did this. Oh, I've got to be careful what I say. So it was like this. It was a pilot. It didn't happen.
Post-COVID.
No, right in the middle of COVID. So no one was really going anywhere. No one was leaving the country. And we had to go to Italy and an island off Italy. And it was me, the DOP. It was a food like cookery type travel type
Hmm.
thing. Uh, and it was me, the DOP, and a food producer, and I was the series producer at the time, and so the rest of the team were in London or working from home in wherever, and us three went to Italy, and we had to quarantine for a week. So the
Oh, that's
production manager
such a
had
shame.
said, "Oh, we put you up in the hotel, uh, right by the airport, but you're going to be in your own rooms for a week." And I was like, I
No,
can't do it. So I was like, just tell me how much you've spent. So they told me. So I went Airbnb. Obviously, there were loads of cheap villas because no one was
yeah,
going on
no
holiday.
one.
I found this villa, but like it was very quick. It was like we were in the airport, so like I didn't properly research it. So I just said, yeah, can we get this one? And got on the plane, got off the plane. We had an email. Yeah, we booked you in. So we got to this villa and it was actually on like a building site, and this was the one villa that had been finished and none of the others had been finished, and it was in the middle of nowhere, like I mean nowhere, like there was nowhere near it. So like we got there, DOP put his drone up to see how close anything is,
Oh
and then
God.
like we had no food, we had no supplies, we had nothing. The fixer had caught COVID and couldn't come to us.
Oh no.
We were trapped in this villa. I mean, we did have a swimming pool and a table. I remember phoning home, my missus and my wife was with the three kids at home, stuck in, can't go anywhere. And I was like, that's really bad. And she's like, you're
Yeah.
in a swimming pool, table tennis table. Um, and like we were joking, like, do we send the drone to like the local village to try and get like pizzas put on it? Anyway, there was like this pool maintenance guy who was working around, and he let us in. He didn't speak any English. We didn't speak any Italian, so we gave him like loads of cash, and we said, can you get some food for us?" And he came back with like enough beer and wine for like a stag or a hen do. Um, it was like 12 pints of milk, like 10 mozzarella balls, and 18 goat yogurts. Never even had a goat yogurt. 18 goat yogurts, and then like pasta and two toilet roll. And it was for a week. Oh my God. So like we just played table tennis all day, every day. It was wonderful. Like it was great. And like we had such a fun time. Came out like starving and hungover after a week.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, and then we went like I wasn't eating meat at the time. We went to all these restaurants and we had to go and taste all the food. And the food producer didn't eat meat, and the
No,
DOP
no.
was basically like eating like we had to
All the
order.
meat.
He was eating all that. So he was eating like three-person steaks, three persons everything. And we got to this one place and it was like, oh, you've got to have this delicacy. It's deep fried sheep's testicles.
Oh
I said to
God.
him, you've eaten, or we've been having little side salads all the way
Yeah.
through this. You've eaten all our steaks, you've eaten everything. I was like, you're going to eat three sets of deep fried sheep's testicles. It's great. He wasn't impressed, but it's good fun. But yeah, I mean, like, no one else was leaving the country, and
No.
you do that. I mean, the show didn't happen, but
Had a great time in the prep. And
that's
that's
a
and
great time.
that's I mean from a process perspective, because I don't want to I always like to try and keep under an hour, and I've got the last two questions that I want to
Yeah,
give
so
you. But no, I fucking love it. I'll talk to you for hours. Um, would you, for everything that you've done, for everywhere and the lessons and the mistakes and the learning and all that stuff, if someone was to somehow just have downloaded all of that information and those experiences to you before you got on that train to London, would you still do it?
100%, yeah. I
Mm,
I think maybe I'd be braver in my decisions in going for jobs. Like I think I hesitated too many times, and I think maybe I didn't explore other roles that I'd like to have done. But I still get to like I love my job. Don't get me wrong, and like I've ended up in a great place,
mm,
and I could have taken another path to get there, but
mm.
I still would have ended up where I've ended up. I think. And yeah, I mean, I love it. I still like when my kids watch the shows I work on and they get excited by it. Maybe not the teenage one, but the younger ones. Like they
Yeah, but
get
they got to play cool, haven't they? They
yeah.
can't.
And like there is a sense of pride, and like you finish
Good.
a show, you come off like live TV, and you go, obviously your team's done a lot of the hard work, but like you have to have a sense of pride and go, do
Yeah.
you know what I made this? And from being that kid watching that telly in my nan's house with all my family, and then going, oh, I make Saturday night TV now. Like, yeah, I mean, I'd love it. I wouldn't change it. I just wish I'd saved a bit of money along the way to help myself.
Yeah, but I guess those little financial difficulties then push you to kind of have to move up. It's like getting engaged
Yeah,
and just about to get married. Right, I was like that. I have to
yeah,
stop running. I have to stop running. Started
yeah,
just ADing, you
yeah,
know? It's
yeah.
what it is, and we love it. So
But
look, dude,
we've got great stories, and that's what life's all about, is the stories you
that's it.
make. And yeah,
There, yeah. It's like every time you kind of go to I don't know, a party, a school function, a this, that, and the other, and you go, "Oh, I work in film and TV." Everyone
yeah,
goes, "What?" Like, what have you do?" And they go, "And oh, so what'd you do?" "Oh, I work in HR, or I'm an
yeah,
accountant." You're like, "Oh,
yeah,
cool."
yeah.
Tell
It's
like
true.
what story,
Yeah, yeah.
and they
It's
could just get him. They don't even fucking want to tell you about it. But
yeah,
it is a cool industry. We get to
yeah,
do some amazing things. We get like 2 years ago we were shooting. And I was in the middle of the Botswana salt pans with just 360-degree horizon views where not many people have been able to tread before. And you go, we are so lucky to be paid to go to some of the most beautiful places on the planet and meet
yeah,
some of the most interesting characters. For a grip mate, and I keep on saying it on the podcast, but he's like the film industry, the media creative industry is the last bastion for misfits. You're like,
yeah,
it's true. It's like
yeah,
if you don't really fit in at school
yeah,
and you don't really do, come and join the film circus. It's
I just hope
apparently
I hope it carries on. I hope like, the
yeah,
industry does carry on because,
been a tough couple of years. AI
other,
seems to be freaking everyone out.
yeah, but other people deserve to like go through what we've gone through in like a positive thing. Like,
Yes.
experience the experiences we've got, like the next generation. Like I hope it does carry on for many, many, many
Mm,
decades.
big love. Right, look, get to the end of the episode. It's the last two questions. You've kind of already kind of started to touch base on the first question I'm going to ask you. The second one, which we'll end on, was just your acceptance speech. Just whoever you want to give thanks to. But the second to last film god question that we always ask is your advice to your younger self. And I think I would like to pick a point if it works for you where you do get told that there's a job offer down in London, and I don't know how often you'd left Liverpool, how often you'd left the country, but being in that early 20s and being given the chance to go down to the big city, and giving you the start of a career, if you were sitting next to yourself in that office, in that room, wherever, in your own bedroom, wherever you were thinking about whether you're going to do it, or you're in the pub, and
Yeah,
instead of your mate, it's you. It's you now talking to you, the you then. What advice are you now kind of going to give that person?
do it. Like do it. Don't like do it and have fun, and don't stress. Like don't worry. Don't worry about, if it fails, it doesn't matter. Like we've talked about failure a lot, or fear of
Mm,
failure a lot. Like if it doesn't work out, you can come home. Like just dip your toe in, try it. Like go for it, give it everything you've got, but just go and experience it. What's the worst that can happen? Um, yeah, just do it.
that's perfect. There's a lot of episodes where courage and the fear of failure and the pushing yourself further is what everyone says. And the reality is that if they had done that, then they wouldn't be at the place that they're in because they may have ended up somewhere different. So
Yeah,
it's that weird dichotomy of convincing yourself to not be fearful and enjoy it, where actually, if you hadn't been fearful, maybe you wouldn't have been the PE teacher, you wouldn't have had the job and
yeah,
the thing. You would have, it's one of those weird little. Everyone says don't be so scared to do it, but actually, that fear, that it's like a speed bump maybe. And if you
yeah,
didn't have that fear, you'd just be flying down the fucking road at 100 miles
yeah,
an hour and miss the turning that you
yeah,
were supposed to take for your life for this life. I don't know. I love
yeah,
it. I love
yeah.
it, dude.
Points, yeah,
Been an amazing chat.
yeah.
Amazing chat. So, last question. The floor is yours. How do people connect with you? How do they find out about you? Who do you want to say thank you to?
I think, I mean, too many people to say thank you to. I mean, I
Mm.
suppose firstly, thank you to me brother for paving the way. Thank you to, showing me that it is a career. And, he took the bigger step because he did it without anyone showing him. I think
Is
thanks
he
to me,
the eldest?
he's the
The
eldest.
firstborn?
Yeah, he's the eldest. He's quite a bit older.
Yeah,
Older. We still have
yeah.
about who makes better TV shows now. Um, yeah, and then my best mate Jimmy for backing me and like holding me hand really to move
And
down
paying the
here,
lecky bill.
paying the lecky
Ledge.
bill. Yeah, thought we were getting away with it. And then yeah, basically every producer, exec, everyone who's ever you know pushed me, and there's been a few. I think there's a guy called Stuart Murphy who used to be commissioner at BBC Three, commissioned Gavin and Stacey, and then he was working at a production company I was, and he kind of pushed me away to go and work somewhere else. He believed in me probably more than anyone else did.
Hmm.
I've never told him, but he he gave me loads of confidence really. So he was a great big one, and then loads since, and all the execs who have learned stuff off, and producers have learned stuff off, like all the crew have helped you. Like you need a lot of people to help you and believe in you along the way, and it's a long, long list.
Boom.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All
Ladies and
right.
gents, I told you it was going to be an absolute cracker of a net. Thank you, brother, for coming on. Team, guys, film family, if you liked it, share it, like it, subscribe, all of that normal shit. And until we meet again, that is a wrap. So that was a chat with the king or queen in the game. I give it a shout at the end so you all know the name. It's the Film Gods Podcast. The what? The Film God Podcast.